Episode 72, Dollars and Cents.
This is the One Extraordinary Marriage Podcast, home of the 7 Days of Sex Challenge, featuring your hosts, the authors of the groundbreaking new book, Stripped Down, Tony and Alisa DiLorenzo.
Welcome back to One Extraordinary Marriage, where we talk about life, love, and the pursuit of intimacy. You're here with Alisa DiLorenzo.
And Tony DiLorenzo.
I have to tell you, one of these days I'm just going to have a video camera on Tony when our intro is playing, because he just starts making all these funny faces and just really gets into it. Just...
One of these days we will.
One of these days we will. Welcome back, everyone. By the time you are listening to this podcast, it will be day 3 of the 7 Days of Sex Challenge.
Yes, which we want to thank all of you who shared it with your friends who are doing it with us. Wow, exploded. It really did. We got some great media attention, and we hope to get some more this week as the challenge goes on. We shall see what happens. If you know of anybody in the media outlets who would like to interview us or do something, let us know. We'd be more than happy to respond to them during the week.
And it's been interesting because the website or us specifically has not been mentioned. Specifically, it was mentioned on the CBS talk show.
Well, it was mentioned on Fox News.
It was mentioned on FoxNews.com.
There just wasn't a link directly to it.
Right, but on the talk, it wasn't mentioned.
The talk, it wasn't mentioned. They just said
they danced all around it.
They just said a popular marriage blog who's doing this challenge. Well, narrows
it down. How many other marriage blogs do you know are doing that this week?
Right.
But it was very interesting. And, a lot of you have chimed in on this because here on the talk, and I just want to mention this for a few minutes because many of you are participating in this. 5 women sitting around a table, and they bring this up, and the women had reactions very similar to what I did when Tony proposed this the very first time.
On the 60 Day of Sex
Challenge. On the
Challenge.
60 Day Sex Challenge in 2008. Almost 4 years ago. Oh, no, 3 years ago.
4 years ago.
4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And, they were all like, oh my gosh, I've got kids. I've got a life. Who on earth would have time to do that? And I was watching the clip and I'm getting all like,
you're getting worked out.
I was really upset.
Worked up. Yeah.
I'm like, seriously? And I had girlfriends calling me who had seen it and they're like, they don't know what they're talking about. They don't realize how important it is to make intimacy a priority. I'm like, you're right. You get it. And then I realized as I've had a little time to think, that they don't get it because they haven't tried.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And they don't get it because for most couples, 7 days seems like a monumental task. And I have to keep in mind my perspective that I've done 40 out of 60 and I've done 7 days now. This will be our 3rd time.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have a different perspective. And so I can't just, as much as I wanted to, be really snippy and rude. And I did send them a little comment saying, this is our story and I'd love to talk to them. And by the way, when we did it the first time, I had a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old. But, keep in mind, those of you that are doing it this week, if your friends look at you like you've got 3 heads, it's because they haven't thought about trying it. And because the challenges in their life outside of making intimacy a priority seem huge. And this seems like it would be, like one of the hosts said, one more thing on the to-do list.
Mm-hmm.
I applaud and commend all of you that are participating in it this week for realizing, yes, it might be another thing that you've added to your week, but your focus is on the fact that it's improving and making intimacy a priority in your marriage.
Right.
So hats off to all of you. Fortunately, I, took a few deep breaths before I actually commented to them. But it's exciting. It's exciting because this year, the international scope of this challenge is even bigger than it was last year.
Yeah, Australia, South Africa, Romania, missionaries in the Ukraine, France, Canada.
And of course, all of you here in the States.
I'm pretty sure almost all 50 states. We didn't keep up as much as we did last year. It drove us, honestly, last year, it was almost a full part-time job. I mean, just trying to keep up with everybody and what everybody was doing. And
on top of doing the challenge ourselves.
Yeah, and it really just wore us out. Trying to do that. So this year we've been a little more just watching what's happening, commenting when we can, and it's blown up. I mean, the initial post has 379 comments when I last looked, and I gave up commenting back sometime midweek. I just couldn't stay up anymore. So it's just awesome to see. It's just, for us, it's cool to see the newbies come in and go, oh my gosh, this sounds so amazing. We need this in our marriage. And then we have folks that have been married 40 plus years, 30 plus years, 20 years. In the teens, like Alisa and I, or many of you are, with kids still running around, and they're going, oh my gosh, this is exactly what we need.
Yeah, we've got everybody from couples who got married on Saturday, and so this is their honeymoon week.
Yeah. To 40 years plus.
40 plus years.
And each couple will be impacted differently, be it if they just have sex, or if they're going to be doing some devotional time together, or if they're going to really impact some of the other areas of intimacy that we talk about in marriage. But I will have to say, from experience in doing this, it just prioritizes our lives for this week. And many of you who have been listening to us for a long time know that it doesn't just end at 7 days. And we'll talk about this next week, which is the intimacy lifestyle, because it is so important to have that lifestyle embedded in your marriage. Even if you don't start with the 7 days of sex challenge, I believe that the intimacy lifestyle should be foundational to every marriage, because it really allows us to learn so much about ourselves in the bedroom, which obviously impacts other areas of our intimacy, because we're able to talk about more when we're open and we're not frustrated sexually.
Absolutely.
So it's been a cool week. It's just been fun for us. And
you guys energize us as we're heading into this challenge. I mean,
you really do.
We actually took time. We're recording this on Sunday night like we usually do. And so last night, Saturday night, we made time for a devotional.
We are still reading through the couple's devotional Bible.
It's going to take us a while. We're only on Genesis.
Yeah. Love it. For those of you who are struggling in this area, spiritual intimacy, get it. It is wonderful. And we don't read every day, even though it says, Monday, Tuesday. We don't read every day. We're doing it probably 2 or 3 times a week. And we just pick up where we left off. And I'm telling you guys, it is fantastic. Alisa and I prayed last night, and, for some reason, just picking up this Bible for some reason has allowed me to sense God just being in our bedroom with us when we're doing this. And in a different way, because last night was the first time we've prayed together openly like this in a while. We pray separately. We do that often. But to pray together, and you know what? I've had the struggle of always having to say the right words, the right things. It always has to sound so pious. And finally, it came to me early on in my prayer. I just said, God, you know what? I'm going to talk to you like I talk to you every day. Just like you're right here beside me, because I know you are. And I'm going to just pray like that, because Alisa and I, that's the way we see you, Father. You're here. You're in front of us. And it was cool.
And I didn't laugh.
No.
Which I've done in the past. Inadvertently.
Well, I think that was the whole, just being open and honest and just going, God, this is who we are.
Right. We're not going to come into some elaborate, lots of big words, things like that. It's a conversation.
Yeah. We're just having this conversation, and we prayed for all of you, those who are doing the challenge and those who are not, those of you who are new to the One community and those who have been here for a long time. We just realized that marriages and those of you who are part of us and part of the One community need prayer. And we say it often, we do it ourselves, but last night was the first time in a long time that we just openly together prayed for you, and we are going to continue to do that. It's a battlefield out there, and we're here to win it.
And we know that many of you keep us in your prayers, and so we just want to say thank you for that. The other thing that just dawned on me is that we are recording this on Sunday, so I want to wish a happy Mother's Day.
Yes.
it'll be belated by the time you listen to this message, but a happy Mother's Day to all of the moms out there that are listening. A special lift up for all of you that have lost children, because I know that Mother's Day can be a challenge. As wonderful as it was for me today, there is still that thought in the back of my head. And for those of you that have lost your mothers, I know that also makes this day a challenge. And so just know that on Sunday, we were lifting all of you up in prayer and wishing a very special day for all of you.
Yeah.
So I had a wonderful Mother's Day.
And I'm going to just talk about our first day of the challenge real quick to everybody, because yesterday we decided to go to Legoland. And a lot of what we're going to be talking about tonight is financial intimacy and Legoland and date night that we had Friday. But before we get there, I just want to touch on our challenge. So long day at Legoland, had a blast. My intention was, hey, honey, let's kick this darn thing off. 12:01, we're going to go. We get home and we're pretty spent. We throw in a movie. It's Saturday night. We're just chilling. I'm doing some computer stuff. Alex is watching. Alisa's conked out, just done.
Just gone.
So after the movie, it's just like, all right, turn this stuff off. It's about 10:30ish at this time. We wanted to do our devotional. We did our devotional. It's probably 10:45. And I go, hey, babe, are you going to stay up? Because she was reading a little bit more. I was going to read a little bit more. She's like, no, there's no way I'm going to be able to stay up. So why don't we just wake up and, whenever we wake up, we'll have sex. And I'm thinking, okay, well, should we put the alarm on or,
And what did I say to you about the alarm clock?
Yeah, Lisa made the good call there and just said, no, thank you. An alarm will just throw us all off and make us both cranky. So we didn't do that. A couple of times during the early morning hours, we woke up. Alisa wasn't feeling 100%, just ate a little too much food that just sort of
things just didn't settle right
messed her up a little bit there. Tried to make a couple advances. Wasn't happening. Honestly, I was too damn tired too. I was like, oh my gosh, I'll be happy if I can just get it up and get this thing done, at 4 a.m., 5 a.m. So like, whatever. Don't worry about it. Go to sleep. Well, we told the kids, it's Mother's Day. Don't come into our room. Don't bother us until we come out.
Well, we'd actually said 7 or 7:30. We had told them that.
Yeah. But I think I had told them, though.
Oh, maybe
you
said something separately.
Yeah,
okay.
Don't bother us. So we finally roll awake at around 8:15, I think it was. We're like, holy crap, it's 8:15. We haven't been bothered by our kids. What's going on? So I'm thinking, well, I don't hear anything, Alisa. Let's get it on. It's 8:15. It's quiet. Let's do this now because we're podcasting tonight. Things will happen. We got to make this the priority. We're the leaders of this thing. Let's prioritize our lives here.
Since we couldn't do it in the middle of the night.
Yeah, since we just couldn't do it. So it was amazing. We had a fantastic lovemaking session. And, I go, well, let's just go take a shower. We're gonna do something fun for you. It's Mother's Day. Unlock the door, take our shower. We come out of our room probably about 9 o'clock, and the kids are just hanging out on the couch, wide awake. Alex was playing a video game. Abby had thrown in a movie. I was just like, thank you, Jesus.
This is the first Mother's Day since I became a mother, which would be 8 years, that two things happened. One, Tony did not ride his bike on Mother's Day. And two, my children actually let me sleep in. That has not happened since I became a mother. So those two things in and of themselves
was amazing.
Made this a very special Mother's Day.
Yeah.
And then they took me out to breakfast. We went to church, had a wonderful message at church. Abby had all kinds of special goodies for me. Alex had created Mom in his Legos, which was very cool. And Abby had actually made me a piece of jewelry that I proudly wore to church, pipe cleaner necklace. And just fun little notes and messages from the kids all day, and just a really mellow day because we had a busy Friday and Saturday.
Yeah.
And that's really what we're going to talk about on today's podcast. And, we titled this podcast Dollars and Cents. And if you've looked at the title, it should pop up cents as in SENSE, not cents as in pennies. And the reason we're talking about this is because the last time we got really serious into money was back in January.
Yep.
When I had way overspent in December, and things were not pretty in the DiLorenzo household concerning our finances. And we'd had some discussions and some silent treatment. And it was just really yuck around here about our finances. And, things we've mentioned it over the last few months. Things have been, better. We've been focused. We've been really bringing financial intimacy to a forefront in our marriage. We talk about
each month
each month we're talking about the budget. Each, once or twice during the week we hit on it, or if something comes up, or, as we're planning for the next month, it's become part of our vocabulary.
Right.
To the point where, our kids are like, well, is it in the budget? Or, if the kids have to pay for something, well, how much is the tax on that? Because they know if they're buying something, they've got to have the money to cover tax.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's become a much stronger component. The financial intimacy has become a much stronger component. So much so that Friday night we had date night, and Saturday we were taking the kids to Legoland.
Right. And today's podcast, I should say, isn't going to be so much about budget and stuff, but we're going to really start talking about how that impacts us when we're out.
Mm-hmm.
How that impacts our moods,
yes,
our emotions. So we're going to sort of step away from the whole budgeting issue stuff. A lot of you do that already.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of you are wondering how to do that. I'm going to lead you to Dave Ramsey. Go to him. He's the guru.
And that's where we started.
Go read his books.
Find Financial Peace University at a church near you.
Go there. We're gonna really hit on what this weekend was like for us now that we've really honed back into it,
mm-hmm,
and how it is affecting our relationship.
Right.
Because as many of you know, when money starts getting tight or you're not sure what's going on, it can really cause a lot of friction, mm-hmm, in your marriage. It can really start chafing at you, especially when you might be out on a date night knowing full well you want to have a wonderful time with your spouse, but you have no idea how much this meal is going to be. You're sort of clocking it in your head. Maybe you see what your spouse has ordered. You sort of order a cheaper meal because you don't want to do that, but all of a sudden a drink is ordered, a wine is ordered, desserts are ordered, and the meal comes to you and it's $100. You don't have $100. And that can throw you into a bit of a tailspin because now you're just worried about how you're going to pay bills.
Right. Because for those of you that have kids, it's not just the $100 meal. It's also the babysitter. It's, all of the whole package.
Yeah.
And, it's not always an inexpensive proposition to go out on a date. If you want to do something special, if you want to. And so because we've made, put so much emphasis lately, the last 3 months, 4 months, now that we're in May, on our financial intimacy, it is really impacting our date nights, our fun activities with the kids.
And so, and here are some examples. So Friday night we went out, mm-hmm, date night. We have in the budget $60 for dinner. That's our budget. That's not including what we're going to pay for the sitter for the kiddos. So we have $60. I've decided it was my month to take the lead. And for those of you who don't know that, each month Alisa and I switch off who takes the lead for dinner. Because it shouldn't always be my responsibility to figure out where we're going to eat, and it shouldn't always be her responsibility. So it was mine. Alisa was dropping these very subtle hints about how she was wanting ginger and, wouldn't it be good to have some sushi and this and that and the other. So I took her up on her hints, and we went to Poway Sushi, our favorite place. Great thing. We drop off the kids about 5. Happy hour is until 6. So we get there with plenty of time to just hang out on happy hour. We're having a blast. Mm-hmm. We're sitting down. We're ordering off the happy hour menu. We meet some folks. We're talking to them. They just moved down here recently from Northern California. but neither of us were looking at the menu or the food items and wondering, okay, are we going to go over budget? We knew where we were. Mm-hmm. And that allows both of us, though, to have a good time.
Right.
Because our minds aren't sitting on the money all the time. And, oh my gosh, if I order this, it's going to push us over. Or if I order that, we shouldn't even be here right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it allows us just to let go. And in our hectic lives and our busy lives with kids and work and family and church and this and that and just allowed us to just let go of it all. And that's needed.
Mm-hmm.
That's needed in our marriages. Just for us to have some fun. And Alisa and I can get pretty damn serious at times. So for us, it's good for us to do that. So we ended up spending about an hour and a half in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
We ordered most of our stuff before happy hour ended, and
because I'm frugal like that. I'm like, ooh, what's that? You know,
Yeah.
I think we ordered one thing that wasn't on the happy hour menu, but everything else we were like, oh.
And we made sure to get it all before happy hour ended,
Mm-hmm.
and the sushi chef would just give it to us in little bits and pieces throughout the time we were there. And so we walked away spending $40. Now, did we order wine or sake or beer? No. We just to us, it's not worth it. I mean, to go buy a $4 beer when I can go buy a 6-pack for $6, $7,
Sometimes we do, but it's very rare.
It's just one of those things that we just look at and go, you know what? It's a drink, for crying out loud. I'll go buy a 6-pack for that much money, or I'll buy a 22 ouncer and we'll just share it one evening. So we sat there and we're like, man, we had $60 budgeted, and we only spent $40. We ran home because we had to do something real quick. I don't even remember what now at this point. What were we doing?
Did we have to?
What did we run home for? Oh, did we have to get something because we were going to go grocery shopping?
No, here was what happened. We went to dinner, and then I wanted to go to Barnes & Noble.
Oh, that's right.
So we went to Barnes & Noble. We did Verizon because I'm looking at a new phone, and it's much nicer to go to Verizon on date night just with Tony than with the whole family because our children in a technology store.
Not good.
Alex is campaigning vigorously for a phone, and that's just not happening anytime soon. So we did that, and then we just ran by Trader Joe's to pick up some snacks for Legoland. Then we went home.
Then we came home. We dropped everything off. And then we're sort of going, you know what? We still got $20. We could hang out at home. Mm-hmm. We were abstaining from sex. Usually on date night, it is a sex night for us. We enjoy that, but we were abstaining because we were starting the challenge. And Alisa has been looking to do this really fun event for her Leah Sophia business for a bunch of her hostess and other gals who are looking at possibly joining her team. Mm-hmm. And so one of the places she's been looking at is called the Barrel Room here in Rancho Bernardo. And we've had desserts there before. We've never had dinner there. We've always sat inside. It's a cool place. We're not wine drinkers by any stretch of the imagination. If you listen to last summer's podcast, I forget what number it is, but when we went up to Morro Bay, we went wine tasting through the Etna Valley in San Luis Obispo County area. And we hit one spot and we were like, all right, we figured out one thing. We're not big wine fans.
No.
So anyways, we go to this place and we're hanging out. Elisa's checking it out. We have this scrumptious caramel brownie with
chocolate caramel brownie
with like brownie chunks on top of it with ice cream. And then we ordered ourselves. This is one where we did order a beer. Mm-hmm. And we got a Maui Brewing Company coconut porter.
Phenomenal.
Smooth as, oh my gosh. But again, what we're bringing up here, and it's not like we're trying to give you all the details, although we are, the experience and the fun we are able to have, to let loose, to enjoy each other, to be engaged with each other was heightened because we didn't have to deal with the underlying money issue. Mm-hmm. We knew where we were. We knew where we stood. So even right when we walked into the Barrel Room, we knew we had $20. So when the dessert menu comes out and we're looking at it and the dessert's $7, and we just share it because, again, we didn't want to soup ourselves up that much on sugar at 9:30 at night. And, you're looking at the beer and it's another $4. We're like, cool. it's $11 plus a tip. We're still within our budget.
Right.
And it's all about just being able to connect with each other without having that financial friction.
Mm-hmm.
Because how many of you are out there are wanting to have a good time, but it's constantly grating on you guys? And like Alisa said earlier, you don't have to go out and be extravagant. Maybe that's the problem. You're trying to go out and be extravagant when maybe you should just be heading out to In-N-Out Burger and having a good time.
Which we've done before too.
Don't let these money issues constantly build up because they're building so much friction in your marriage. It's affecting all areas of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, it's for us, the fact that we were able to go to two different places, have two different experiences. And in between, just from a financial standpoint, we'd also stop by the Verizon store and, I'm looking at phones and the guy's giving me a quote. And he's like, all right, we're ready to get this. And I said, no, you know what? Appreciate the quote. Glad to know where things stand. I'm not ready yet. There's some other things I'm doing in my business this month and I'm not going to go drop, a few $100s on a new phone.
Right.
He's like, oh, and the timing's not right. And I don't need to bring that stress into my life, trying to juggle, different things. And we kept this whole financial intimacy really kept, it started Friday night, the scenario that we're building, and it continued into Saturday.
Right.
Our children have been campaigning for a very long time to go to Legoland.
And we live, Legoland, California, and we live 45 minutes away from this place.
And, so where we are in San Diego, we've got SeaWorld, we've got Legoland, we've got the San Diego Zoo, the Wild Animal Park. There are lots to do in San Diego. Lots of things to do. However, all of the places around us have very large price tags.
Mm-hmm.
And, one point in time, we had like buy one, get one free. Like we could get in, we would have to pay for us and the kids would get in for free. And so we looked at that option. But that's still, adult tickets are $80 to get into Legoland. And, back, I guess it was end of January, beginning of February, because we had even talked about this, I know, on the podcast when Alex wanted to play soccer.
Right.
And we had extra money that month, and that had been money that we were going to set aside for Legoland. But because he wanted to play soccer, we just said, you know what, that's a trade-off. And we'll have to wait till we save up more money. Well,
even though one was benefiting just him and the other was benefiting the family, we allowed him to make that decision. And we're happy he did.
He's happy.
Yeah, and we are
decision.
too. I mean, it's just been a fun thing to watch him play. Mm-hmm. And as a family, we get to watch him play.
We get to watch him play. So I guess mid-April, mid-April-ish, I had heard from a friend that there was a radio station that was doing a promotional day at Legoland where tickets were going to be $12 per person. And
a voucher.
So that you didn't actually have to pay until you went. And so I went to this toy store, made my purchase, got my tickets, super excited. And, so we're going to be able to get in. I did all the math. I'm like, okay, so we can actually get into Legoland, $48, parking's $12. And I had to make a purchase at the store that was $15. So that was like $75, less than the cost of one ticket.
Well, and the purchase was also going to go towards a birthday present anyway. So it wasn't like we were just buying something for nothing. Right.
Yeah, we had a friend's birthday party at that time. So $75 was going to get everybody into Legoland.
Right.
And so when Tony and I were setting up our budget, knowing that this was on the calendar for May 7th, we budgeted an amount of money. We budgeted $200 to do Legoland. That was going to include the cost of the tickets, parking, and anything that we decided to do that day. If the kids wanted to go out to eat, if the kids wanted to stop in the gift shop. And so we hadn't told the kids.
No. And
for a couple of reasons.
Yeah. Talk the reasons why we didn't do that.
Okay. I don't know. They're tied for number one. One reason we didn't tell the kids is because those of you that have children, if they find out that something big is going to happen, they will bug you every 25.6 seconds saying, are we going? What day is it? Is it going to be today? Do we get to go tomorrow? What day? That's enough to make me crazy. And the reason that we didn't tell them, reason number two, is because if I had told the kids that we were going, I might have gotten really irritated with my children in the 3 weeks between when I got the tickets and when we actually went. to the point where I would have said, you know what? I can't take this.
Yeah.
I'm tired of your behavior. I'm tired of this. We're not going to Legoland. And I didn't want my behavior to be the reason they didn't get to go to Legoland. So I had to keep myself in check by keeping this a surprise. Because I couldn't take it away.
For us, it worked out nicely because we were driving yesterday and we pulled it off in the morning. It was just sort of a nice, cool morning. And we were just like, you know what, kids, let's just go to the beach. We haven't been to the beach in a while. It's going to be a beautiful day. Let's get out there early. We'll walk along. We'll go get a picnic lunch, and we'll just go up there. And so we're driving, and we're getting close to Carlsbad, and I make the turn to go to Legoland. And the kids were goofing off.
They were totally engrossed in a movie, though, because they never even noticed that we weren't going the normal way that we go to the beach.
No. I had already told them we were going to Carlsbad.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I told them we were going to go somewhere different. And so we're getting close to Legoland. I'm like, hey, guys, you want to go to Legoland? We're right here. And they're like underneath their covers. And Abby's like, yeah. And Alex is just sort of going, you know what? They're just doing that because they want you to take off your cover to take a picture of you. And
because I'm videotaping this whole thing.
Yeah. And I go, no, you guys want to go to Legoland? We're right here. Let's go to Legoland. And Alex is just like, no, you guys are lying to us. We're not going to go. And we're driving into Legoland. And finally, we're like, Alex, we're going to Legoland. And it was the most unbelievable joy from a little boy that just made my heart sing. Just, you're kidding, Dad. You're kidding, Mom. No way, this, that. We're like, no, we're going. And we just had a blast.
He's rocking back and forth in his seat, just squealing and screaming. And I can't believe it. I can't believe it. And we got a few, you're the best parents ever. And
yeah,
I heard that a few times yesterday. It was kind of nice.
We even got I love yous out of them.
I get I love yous. You don't get very many I love yous.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Yeah, but he did say I love you. And, it was great because we go in and, we told the kids, we're like, well, and, because of course Alex knows, since we're very honest with our kids, he's like, well, how did this happen? Tickets and that kind of thing. And I said, Mom got a deal on the tickets. They were $12 each. And so then he's like trying to wrap his head around the fact that he knows tickets are $80, but Mom got them for $12. And how, and I'm explaining,
how did this
happen? And, what stars aligned for him to be able to do this? And, we go in, and the nice thing about having the budget and having that money set was that we didn't have to say no to our kids.
Yeah.
All day. And there were a few things we didn't say yes to all the little games that they wanted to play. But, Abby's big thing was that she wanted her face painted.
Yeah.
It was the only, for a while, it was the only thing she wanted. She just wanted her face painted. And so take her to get her face painted, and we're going through, and the kids knew that we'd brought lunch. And so we actually left the park. We were there for a few hours. We went, out to the car and just sat and had a picnic lunch at the car.
Mm-hmm.
Because we'd explained to the kids, we're going to bring lunch so that we can just stay here and, just get a little downtime. And then we're going to go out to dinner on the way home. And, all day long, we're just having a good time. And our children love to shop. They are their mother's children in this respect. And so literally, I think we hit every single gift shop.
We didn't.
We hit quite a few.
We hit quite a few, but we didn't hit them all.
Because they were and partly because there are so many amazing Lego creations inside the shops.
Oh my gosh. If you guys get a chance to go and you go for a deal, the new Star Wars.
The Star Wars scenes were pretty amazing.
Scenes were really cool.
We'll have to post some of the pictures up on the site once I get them downloaded.
Yeah, we'll have to do that. But there were so many cool things.
But at the end of the day, we had finally told the kids, and Alex had actually brought money with him that day because one of the things that he wanted to do was go to when he didn't know we were going to the beach, he wanted to go to GameStop because he wanted to take care of a video game. And so at lunch, he's, can I take my money out of the car, please? Can I take my money? And so, we bring his money inside and finally tell the kids, look, we're going to go to the gift shop at 4:30. And we're not going to go before 4:30. We're not going to be carrying around purchases. We're just, we're going to do this at the end of the day as we're heading out. And so, at the end of the day, we tell the kids, look, you can each buy up to $15. Well, we had originally said 10, and Abby said, well, how about 14? And I said, you know what? Let's just go to 15.
Yeah.
And that's when Alex comes to me with the tax question. Well, what about sales tax? Does it have to be $13 so that it's, with tax, it's 15? I love the fact that he already knows that it's a $13 purchase that gets you to $15 with sales tax. And I just said, you know what? We're just going to take care of sales tax too. You can spend up to $14.95 or $14, however they do it here. And, but that's what you're going to go home with. We're not taking home big Lego sets.
Right.
Find something that's going to give you a memory of your day, but not be anything crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And so they did. And it was great because they were able to shop. No, Abby had a little more difficulty because she looks all over the place. And so, but she ended up finding minifigures, and we left with peace on the day.
And bringing this back to Alisa and I, throughout the day, there was no friction. There was no, well, no, we can't do this, or gosh, that's going to cost us money, or, it was just sort of, hey, there are still guidelines we're following, but not once was she and I at odds with each other.
Mm-hmm.
We'd come to this in an agreement, having worked it out in our budget, earlier in the month. And so when we were there, it didn't cause us any friction. And that's what the benefits of having this time together each month, talking about what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't just happen magically. It takes some time on both of your parts to sit down to realize what's going on.
Right.
Now, this has been a work in progress. Some of you are listening to us and going, oh, I couldn't do that. We don't even have enough money to pay the bills right now. We've been there.
And we didn't take our kids to Legoland when that was the case.
Well, we were there. Yeah, we were there before we had kids. We were $50,000 in debt. We've had to eat rice and beans so that way we could pay the bills. This just doesn't happen overnight. Just like our marriages don't crumble in a day. It takes time, and it's a little thing one after another that keeps taking away from our marriage. Well, financial intimacy is one of those things that constantly takes away. But you can build your marriage up, and it takes time and effort when you hone in on this and work together on this. It's not going to happen in one conversation, folks. Got to start getting this stuff out of your minds.
Mm-hmm.
That you're looking up to other folks and going, oh, they are so wonderful. How do they do it? It's called time and effort. Are you willing to do it to have a better marriage? Are you guys willing to sit down and have those hard conversations? It's not fun. I know that. Do you think in December or January when Alisa and I had the conversation of why we paid too much on presents so that we're short in January, you think that's fun? No, it's not fun at all. Is it worth it now that I look back 5 months? By all means, yes. Yes, a little pain, a little agony in January is well worth it now that we're here in May.
Okay, not so little.
Not so
Let's
little.
be honest.
Okay.
Little silent treatment there on your side.
Yes, I was pissed.
Major conversations.
So,
but the end result was that we had a weekend with our children, with each other, where even when we got to, we finally just wrapping up the day with the kids yesterday, we stop, we have dinner, and we stopped at Chick-fil-A, and the kids can see on one of the signs inside the restaurant, they see a soft serve ice cream cone. And so the kids look at me, and I get the question, Mom, can we have ice cream? And I said, well, let me see what I've got left. And we had, I think, $5 or $7 left or something,
Yep.
And I said, you know what? Go find out for me how much the ice cream cones are.
Right.
And so they come back and they're like, well, there's one that's $1.25 and one that's $1.75. And I said, well, we don't need the bigger one. So if you two would like to get an ice cream cone, you may each go get one. And so they took the money up and they came back, and Alex was all excited. He's like, and we still have money left.
Yeah.
And it literally was the icing on the cake yesterday. Not that we give in to all of our kids' indulgences. I still said no to things yesterday.
Yeah, but this isn't so much about the kids. It's about us not having the friction. But
being able to have that peace, being able
Right.
to have budgeted for it, kept me from getting cranky,
mm-hmm.
which in turn kept us from getting cranky with each other.
Mm-hmm.
So being able to say, you know what? Yeah, kids, you're not playing all the little, $2 and $3 games. I'm not, I will let you have fun at Legoland, but we're not doing all the little stuff. It was a nice day. And I knew how relaxed our kids were when talking to Alex later on in the evening. And he's actually poking fun at me, like, oh, Mom, sometimes you're like this. And he'd, make a funny face and, oh, you can't do it. But he was so relaxed that he did that without fear that I was going to be like, don't make fun of me. And having that peace as a couple, having that peace as a family, it changes the dynamics. It changes how everybody relates to one another.
Mm-hmm.
And when you can, yes, we built that peace into our budget in the month of May.
Right.
We did. We said, okay, we're going to do this. This is how much money we're going to need. This is how we're going to do it. We created our peace. You can do that.
In all areas, when it comes to your money, we're talking about having fun and going out on date nights or Legoland activities, but you can do this in your marriage every month. Mm-hmm. Sit down, find out where your money's going, find out how much is coming in. For Alisa and I now, we're back on this track where it's just like, okay, money's going out. We know how much has come in. There we go. We're done. Mm-hmm. If something is needed, then we got to move some stuff around, or can it wait till next month?
Right.
Throughout the month, I'm letting her know how the business is doing, how we're progressing, so she has an idea of what we're going to need, and it just
on the flip side, if I'm spending money, which I am the one, during the month, I'm the one spending the money, whether it's groceries or whatever, I'm the shopper by default. But that's what I'm doing to Tony, saying, okay, this is what's come up. Or if a bill comes in that we're going to have to pay next month, okay, just a heads up. Yeah. This bill has come in. I don't want you to flip out. It's like, especially for us, since we're self-employed, the whole medical insurance thing. So when we get a medical bill and I know it's going to cause him some angst, it's much better for me to say, hey, I just got the explanation of benefits. My bill is going to be $300, than to wait till the actual bill comes in and says, oh, and I get to say to him, great, I've got a $300 bill. At least he's now had a month to think about it,
mm-hmm.
and to process it. So he's not, he's not caught by surprise. Our spouses do not like financial surprises unless you're getting some kind of huge windfall. Most every other financial surprise is a negative one, and it is best not to spring negative surprises on your spouse. If you keep the communication open, those surprises are minimized and you have more peace because there aren't surprises. That's not to say you're not going to have unexpected expenses. It happens. The car breaks down.
Been there. Dryer breaks down.
Down. All in the same 2-week period.
Battery in my car goes out.
Things happen.
We've had a month or two,
month and a half of car stuff,
of cars and other things breaking in our house. Sort of blowing us up a little bit and having to take a little bit from here,
mm-hmm.
because we have some extra cash right there.
We have our emergency funds,
and we can utilize it.
But because we've talked about it, and because we continue to talk about our finances, even the unexpected expenses are workable.
Mm-hmm.
And while they may cause us some initial anxiety over, okay, how are we going to juggle this one? It doesn't cause the rift, and it doesn't cause the tension that I know many of you may be experiencing right now or have experienced in the future or in the past. Money is a difficult subject. And the way to get around that is to talk about it.
Because by talking about it, it is going to heighten your intimacy. All of it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, folks? Intimacy isn't just sex. It's just not physical, but it's all of it. When you're dealing with financial intimacy, you're an emotional and your intellectual intimacy. If you choose to start praying about it, you've attacked your spiritual intimacy. So you see, it's not just one thing. It's not just your finances that are impacted. It's your entire marriage that's impacted. Mm-hmm. And this week we ask that you just go over them. Look at it. Start talking to your spouse about it if you haven't. Come up with a plan. Make it happen. Get Dave's book. Start reading it. Take the baby steps. Start making a change. So that way you can start impacting all of the intimacies in your marriage while you're dealing with the big issue that many of us face and have faced in our marriages, and that's money. So we hope you guys have a fantastic week. We know this is a little heavy when it comes to finances, but it's worth it. All right? You guys enjoy it. We love you, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks for listening to the One Extraordinary Marriage podcast. We would love to hear from you. You can go ahead and give us a call at area code 858-876-5663 or send us an email to info@oneextraordinarymarriage.com. The website is oneextraordinarymarriage.com, and while you're there, you can sign up for our Marriage Minute Monday newsletter, and you can also purchase Tony and Alisa's new book, Stripped Down. It's available now in print, audio, and ebook formats. Also, the One Extraordinary Marriage podcast has sponsorship opportunities available now. If your business is interested in sponsoring this podcast, please contact us at oneextraordinarymarriage.com.